Today, we're going to be comparing Perplexity Labs versus Manus versus Genspark. Now, these are all like agentic AI super agent tools that can go off, create apps, do research, browse the web, etc. If you want to see some examples of what you can build with Perplexity Labs, which has literally just come out, by the way, then let me show you some examples. So you can go off, build dashboards, do research, search the web, a very powerful tool. Here's another one. So it created like a film noir concept for a storyboard on a film and generate the images, the storyboard, the ideas, etc. And you can see some other examples right here. By the way, if you want training on all of these AI super agents, then feel free to get the AI Success Lab, link in the comment description. We have masterclasses and courses and SOPs on each one of these different AI super agents. So we're going to get straight into this. And the first place I'm going to start is with Perplexity Labs. We're going to run the same prompt on each, which is, we're going to say research Julian Goldie and his AI profit boardroom community. Then generate a beautiful landing page to sell it. And you might be saying, can Perplexity code? I actually can now. So it's designed to code, to research, to do tasks agentically. And you can see an example right here. So for example, we can create dashboards, images, but it can also code. If we have a look at this analysis right here, this is based on code. If we go to the asset section, you can see all the code that is created. So it's actually pretty good at coding, but we'll test it side by side versus Manus and also versus Genspark in a second as well. So let's run the same prompts inside Genspark. As you can see, we're running that right now. And also we'll run this inside Manus and just see which one creates the best outputs. Bear in mind as well, you can also deploy assets via Perplexity as well. And it's a pretty powerful tool. So for example, with Perplexity Labs, they said visualize the Formula One Imola GP qualifying times for 2025 versus 2024, etc. Which teams got faster and slower and why. And then it's created a leaderboard. And you can actually flick between the leaderboard and all the reports of that. It's pretty crazy. We have the research being done here. What I really like about Perplexity is that you actually get the timings. So you can see when it's going to be done, what's going to be done, etc. If we go over to Manus, we can see that Manus is working, but it tends to be a lot slower. You can see a preview of Manus and what it's doing. So you can see the virtual environment. And then here's an example of it just surfing through the web, looking at the AIprofitboardroom.com, and then doing research based on that. If you go over to Genspark, Genspark is already creating the web page, which is pretty awesome. So I'd say in terms of speed, Genspark and Perplexity seem to be winning. And I think Genspark is probably going to come back to us first, but we'll see that in a second. So whilst Perplexity is still gathering the resources, the data, etc., Genspark is already coding out. Manus is still stuck in the slow research phase. Now, one thing that I noticed with Manus is I think it's so slow because it's doing a lot of the research via browsing. It's not actually researching itself. It's not actually just scraping through the web and trying to get data that way. What it does instead is actually has some sort of virtual computer that will browse the web. And obviously, if it's an AI agent and it's clicking on buttons and browsing the web, then it's going to be a lot slower for research tasks. But we'll see how it performs in a second. This looks pretty close to being done. By the way, if you want to see examples of what we built, just check out the courses and SOPs inside the AI Success Lab. You got the links inside this module right here. And then if we, for example, go to Manus and Genspark, we've actually got a 3-hour course in there. And if you want to see some of the stuff we actually built with it, here's an example. So this was a fantasy game that we built called Medieval Realms Fantasy. And we have a cheeky geezer in 3D just going through the woods and living the medieval dream, as you can see, right? Going through that castle right there. So let's get back to Perplexity now and see what we got. Stuck on 4 minutants. It was 4 minutes ago. All right, let's have a look at Genspark now. Genspark has already created the page and it's looking like an absolute beauty. Let's open this up and see what we got. So what I like about Genspark as well is that it actually deploys a page. And this is all based on the actual data. So for example, you can see it's actually taken the sales copy from my page and it's generated the copywriting really nicely, right? That's a nice headline. It's designed it nice. It looks super clean on the page. It talks about the problem. So it's using like that typical sort of sales copy process. And instead of creating loads of AI drivel and AI slop, it's generated a really nice sales page that honestly I think would convert very well, to be honest with you. Let's have a look at this. Just check if it actually works on the link. So is it sending us to the sales page? It is. Absolutely. I think Genspark did a 10 out of 10 on that, to be honest. Genspark's just showing off right there. It did get the price wrong, to be honest with you. That was the old price back on the old days. But you got the idea, which is that early beta pricing ends in a couple of days. And the page is looking super nice, right? Like I would happily deploy that and get that on a subdomain and get that posted live. Probably convert better than our existing school page. Pretty easy to automate, really awesome outputs. So it was the fastest and also it creates something amazing. Perplexity Labs is still stuck on 4 minutons and I'm not sure why. And then Manus is still browsing the web. So if I had to declare a winner here, I'm going to say that Genspark is absolutely crushing it, whilst Perplexity and Manus are absolutely struggling. But we'll come back to that in a second. And in the meantime, what we'll do is we'll run the next task just to wait for the slowpokes to catch up, all right? So we're going to go over to Perplexity now. We'll go into Labs and we'll run the next report. And for this, what I'm actually going to say is create a beautiful report and dashboard that I can present on YouTube that explains all the latest SEO updates this week. Specifically focus on finding research, stats, and relevant updates from May 2025. Nothing generic, no fluff. And make sure it's super recent. Okay. So we're going to use exactly the same prompt to make it fair inside Perplexity as we do inside Manus and Genspark. So let's get it crack-a-lacking with that. We'll plug that in. Here we go. And then we'll do the same inside Genspark as well. There we go. They do actually have an AI slides feature, but I'm not going to use that because I want to keep it fair. I want to show you exactly how each AI agent works step by step. And I don't want to use like a specific feature from Genspark and then it overpowers the rest, all right? Let's see what we get back from each in a second. In the meantime, we actually have the page from Perplexity and it is looking like a beaut, to be honest with you. Manus is now coding out as well, and then we'll come back in a second and we'll just compare them and see how they perform. All right. So if we have a look now, you can see the tasks being laid out by Perplexity. Manus, again, is going to be super slow because it's using the browser. And then Genspark has actually come back to us with some questions first before we do it. So I'm just going to say, okay, yes, sounds great. Make sure it's all recent and relevant to SEO. Thanks. So I think basically the reason why it asks you this before it goes ahead is because Genspark wants to make sure it's not going to rinse your credits without permission. So it's a pretty good idea. Basically what it's doing is getting permission first, making sure that you're comfortable using that amount of credits, and then it'll go off and do its magic. So 3 minutons left on the report from Perplexity. Manus, I think that's probably going to be 10 to 15 minutes. Genspark is already coding out the report, which is pretty awesome. And wow. Yeah, we've got the report back. So this is the first page from Genspark. Manus taking its time. Perplexity got 3 minutes left. Now, in the meantime, let me show you some other stuff we built with Manus and Genspark. So, for example, this was an AI SEO tool. Full course right here if you want to get this stuff, by the way. And then you can see that you can basically build SaaS products as well with Manus. If we have a look at Genspark as well, here's some examples of what we've built. The main thing to understand here between all of these is any sort of admin tasks, any basic stuff where it's clicking buttons or doing research or even building tools that is pretty simple one-click tools. I would say within a year, those jobs are gone. And really, I think it's only going to be like the highest quality, highest skilled jobs that are going to be available. And those jobs are probably going to be ones where, you know, the people who keep those jobs or develop those jobs are the ones who can really adapt. And they'll be using AI and agents like this to help them, right? So, for example, we have a retention manager. What he'll do inside the AI Profit Boardroom is he's going to use and create a report to build this stuff out. So here's another one. This is the AI Growth Calculator. And yeah, if you want all this stuff inside the AI Profit Boardroom, if you want to see some examples and the full recipe. So let's go back now. And hopefully Manus is finished. Fingers crossed. It's just taking too long. It's taking too long. All right, I'm giving up on Manus. We'll just compare side by side Perplexity then, and we'll put these in the top two. So if we have a look at this web page right here, we can view this full screen. So it's deployed, and then you can actually share this. So you don't need to ask Perplexity to deploy it or anything like that. It's already shared on this link right here, as you can see. And this is the landing page that we got back, right? And you can share it. This is incognito. I'm not logged in to see this, etc. So it's pretty amazing what Perplexity built, because overnight they've basically got something that's at the same level or even better and faster than something like Manus, right? And Manus was absolutely destroying the market a couple of months ago. So if we have a look now at the list and we'll compare these outputs side by side. So this is the landing page from Perplexity. And this is the landing page from Genspark. And you can see that if we compare these side by side, I still think that Genspark has created something better. So for example, if you look at this, it's not quite responsive at the top. You see how there's that little design error there? Doesn't look quite as nice. But honestly, they both look good. The other thing I would say here is, like, just for CRO, this flashing button right here is a lot more attractive than this one. If we click on that link, let's see if it actually takes us to the landing page. If we click on join now, where's it taking us? It's not taking us anywhere. All right, so the CTA buttons on Perplexity are actually broken, which means that you'd have to use like another credit to fix that, but it's still not bad, right? It's still not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just Genspark has created something that's ready to go straight out of the box, whereas Perplexity has created something that's nice, but it's not ready to publish yet, right? It needs a lot of work still. Even, for example, like the images, it's just created an image that says Julian Goldie in a turquoise box, right? Whereas Genspark has like made the boxes a lot more attractive. It's not used fake images or skipped images, etc. And if we compare some of these headlines, so for example, like the frequently asked questions bit here, let's click on this. You see how you can't really read that because it's like gray on white text. These are issues that we're getting with Perplexity. However, I would say it's impressive. Like what they've managed to do so far and to jump ahead so far quickly. It's really cool. Let's have a look at Manus now. Yeah, Manus has just... Has it done it? It says it's completed the current task. Oh, let's have a look. We got the landing page right here. This is pretty nice. This is pretty nice, to be fair. I don't know who this geezer is. This is not Julian Goldie. But it's looking decent. Let's click and see if this goes straight to the landing page. So for some reason, that link doesn't work, the CTA buttons. Yeah, I'm going to put Manus is a bit slower, but I'd actually say that comes in second. It's created some nice images. There's no UI problems here. I think it's going to be responsive as well if we just check. Yeah, so it's in responsive and it's looking good right there for the design and UI. So if I had to place them, I'm going to say Genspark is winning in terms of speed and design and UI and outputs. Manus comes in second, but it's a little bit slow. You've got to be patient with it. Perplexity comes in last, but it's still a valiant effort by Perplexity. I'm not saying they failed or anything like that. So let's come back to the research report. Perplexity is taking its sweet time. It's got a couple of minutes left. So actually, it's hit and miss for the speed, which is quite interesting as well. But you can see here it's generating Python code with the image files. So if we click on that, we should be able to see the assets it's building for this. Like you can see, we've got the web page right here. So HTML, CSS, and JS. And it's quite interesting to see, like, it's using a combination of deep research, Python coding, image generation, and then also the HTML and everything else, right? So it can build websites, it can code, it can generate images all in one, which is pretty cool. If you go back to Genspark here, I really don't like the UI on this. So for example, you can see that the color of this doesn't quite match. But apart from that, if we scroll up here, it's got some nice charts. It's mentioning Google I/O, which was this month and had a huge impact on the SEO industry, to be fair. And the charts and everything are looking really good, right? Plus, it's moving a lot faster than what I've seen from Manus and Perplexity. However, having said that, let's have a look what we got here. So Manus has completed the task. Where's the dashboard? Let's see if we can deploy this. So it's deploying now. If you want to deploy on Manus, let's say, for example, you create a PDF report like this and you want to deploy it to a website, just type in deploy it inside the chat and then it will go off and start doing that, as you can see. Now, in the meantime, what we can do is actually download the PDF. Or you can actually save it to Google Drive as well, which is a cool feature. So if we open up the SEO report from Manus, so I'll compare it side by side. It actually did beat Genspark in terms of speed, to be fair. So that's surprising to me. But if we compare them side by side, Manus over here with the PDF report and Genspark with the presentation, there's quite a big difference here in terms of presentability, right? So I said inside the prompt, I want to present this on YouTube. And you can see a big difference between them, right? So the UI is much nicer on Genspark. It's created a proper report. It's made everything nice and presentable for a YouTube video. We could actually use this, for example. And it just looks a lot nicer. This is super interesting, though. It's created like a SEO strategy effectiveness chart. I don't know if that's factually correct, but we're having a look at it. Industry impact analysis. Like the content of this is great, but it's not what we wanted, which is something super presentable for YouTube. So I'm going to say Genspark is winning so far. Perplexity has come back to us now with a dashboard as well. Let's view this full screen and we'll see what we got here. Ah, that's a beaut, isn't it? That is a beaut. So it's a nice little dashboard. You can actually click on each of these buttons. And then it gives you like the key insights, the featured snippet, click-through rate, etc. Right? It's got some visual analytics here and you can click on them and then bounce off. So it's super interactive, this report. And then we've got the major timelines update in terms of what happened and when it happened this month. However, what's a little bit weird is you've got May the 20th at the top, and then you have May the 27th at the bottom, right? The timeline is weird and zoomed out. However, it's forgivable. So I would say that genuinely this is the nicest report so far. Genspark comes in second with its report. And if you just want something that's like a long PDF, but not that presentable, then Manus is coming in, but it's coming in last, right? So Manus came in last for both tasks. Perplexity came in first for this task, but second for the second task. And Genspark came in first for the first task, and then second for the second task. So I would say genuinely, from what I've seen so far, I would go with Genspark for website building, but for dashboards, for anything analytical, for reports, etc., I'd probably switch to Perplexity Labs. Like, it's super powerful, creates awesome dashboards, looks great, and very presentable, right? You could easily show that on a landing page as well. Also like the fact that it auto deploys to a subdomain, so I could just share that directly with whoever I want as soon as I want. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get all the notes from today, you can get them inside the AI Success Lab, as you can see right here. Link in the comments description. You can also get all of my courses and SOPs on Manus, Genspark, and Perplexity directly here inside the resources section. And this comes with loads of different automations, AI stuff, tips on Veo 3, etc. Feel free to get that inside the AI Success Lab. Completely free, link in the comments description. Comes with 8,300 members as well in that community, which is pretty awesome. and a free AI automation strategy session, as you can see as well. If you want to get support, coaching, communities, etc., feel free to get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. This is where basically I hang out, and it's got all my best agent templates, workflows, tutorials, etc., an amazing community of people serious about growing with AI, and weekly coaching calls, Q&As, plus I make a personalized video for you based on your questions inside there. Now, if you just want us to implement all this stuff for you, maybe you want to save a lot of time, you want someone to go off an agency to just build automations for you, feel free to get a free AI automation strategy session. Link in the comments description. You can book in a free AI strategy session and then just book in a call with us, and we'll be happy to help you and basically just plan out step by step what you can automate, how you can automate it, and then the next steps for doing that. So feel free to get that link in the comments description. Appreciate you watching.